All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning in St. Louis. My name is Tracy. I'm with Together Credit Union, and I'm here today to present to you 6 steps to building your budget. And usually this is a 2-hour presentation, so we've condensed it down to the next 30 to 45 minutes for you so you can go back and enjoy your lovely Saturday at home, social distancing, and spending all that family time together. So what are we going to cover in the next 30 minutes? We're going to talk about what is a budget. We're going to go over some common financial mistakes that everybody makes. We're going to talk about developing your budget, and then we're going to go into some quick resources and tools. So let's get started. What is a budget? So everybody can sigh with me really quick. Budget. They are not easy. They are tedious because a budget is a plan for how you're going to allocate your income to meet your expenses for a designated time period. It could be for a week, it could be bi-weekly, it could be for a month, or it could be for a year. Personally, I have my overall monthly budget that I have set up, and then I break it down into the paycheck cycle, so every 2 weeks. So my first cycle covers all my bills, my loan payments, and my second cycle is mainly my mortgage and just a couple other little expenses, and daycare is just always involved in there. So that's how I make it work for me. We all sigh when we hear that word budget, and it's tedious because a budget's going to show you exactly where your money's going. It's going to show you the honest truth of if you're spending too much, if you're got a little bit more money here. So you're going to be able to track exactly where your money's going. But budgets aren't negative. They're actually really positive because if you have a budget and you stick to it, you're on your way to financial freedom. You're going to have the ability to meet those goals, and you're going to have the ability to purchase that dream house one day and go on that dream vacation or cruise one day. So budget is your ticket to financial freedom. Always remember that. Yes, it is tedious. Yes, it is time consuming to put together, but once you get it set, it is your ticket to your financial freedom. Your budget is also constantly changing. Life happens. And we will discuss later today. We'll set up our budget, and then we're going to go back through and talk about how to budget during times of uncertainty. Right now, a lot of things are changing hour by hour. So your budget is always changing just like that. Payroll changes, raises, maybe you lose a job, you're getting an addition to your family, a pet, maybe a new baby, maybe you just got married, maybe you just went through a divorce. Always different things going on. Your budget should also always be ambitious, but make sure it's realistic. You don't want to set your goals so extreme that there's no way you're ever going to be able to achieve them. And just be prepared when you set your goals. You might have to go back and adjust them a little bit. That's okay. So some common financial mistakes that we see, and I am guilty of a lot of these as well, is we don't always set clear financial goals. I'm kind of guilty of this. I'm getting better at it, but I just tried to save money, but I didn't know for what. So now I'm setting my goals. So when you have your goals, you know what you're trying to save for, you know what you're trying to pay off, and you have that roadmap of how to get there. Also, if you're not tracking your expenses, there's no excuse for this anymore. We have mobile banking, we have online access. It's easier than ever to track your expenses and know where your money's going and keep track of your balances. But you really have to in-depth tracking so you understand your habits, so that way you can start to reframe those habits to fit your budget as needed. A lot of us are guilty, and we're here today because we don't have a budget. I've always been a budgeter because I'm weird and nerdy like that, but a lot of us don't always have a budget, so we really don't know what's going on. We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, and sometimes it works, and a lot of times it doesn't. So that's what we're going to talk about really today, is establishing that budget for you. Also, not establishing an emergency fund. Sometimes it's hard to even have an emergency fund, and sometimes our budget doesn't really allow us to put in there. So it's really important that even if we're setting $5 aside a paycheck for our emergency fund, it's better than not setting anything aside at all. Especially right now when we're in these times of uncertainty, you might need a little backup money just to get through a month. Skipping payments or paying bills late. This usually happens because you don't have a budget, you're not tracking your expenses, so maybe you're not able to make that payment, or if you're just not organized, because sometimes I get unorganized, you forget to make a payment. This can really affect your credit, so it's really important that you are organized, you have your budget, and you know when your payments are due, that you're able to make those payments, and that you're paying those bills on time. Using credit to make ends meet. This can get you in trouble really quick. So this is when you start using your credit cards to pay for everything. And before you know it, your credit cards are maxed out, and then you're in high credit card debt on top of all your other bills, and you can really get into a financial funk, and you have to try to start clawing your way back out. Not defining your needs and wants. So we work a lot with grade school kids and high school kids, and even with adults, and it's always the same. You have 3 essential needs in your life. That is food, clothing, and shelter. Those are your needs, and that's how you should prioritize your spending. And your wants is everything else. And it is so easy to turn a want into a need at the store because you can convince yourself you really need that Baby Shark CD for your child. Even though you can just download it on Amazon Prime. Sorry, my 2-year-old is like obsessed with Baby Shark. So making sure you understand your needs and your wants. Also, a financial mistake we see a lot is people get stuck in the past. They get so stuck and focused on what has happened that they're not able to move forward and focus on the present and the future. So we want to encourage that as well. Always be able to try to be able to move forward with your finances. And the biggest one is not asking for help. So I'm a very prideful person. I don't ask for help. I am Superwoman. I can do it all. And that's a complete lie because I am not, and I need a lot of help with everything, and finances included. Finances are stressful. We don't like to talk about our money. We like to pretend everything's okay, and it might not be. So now you're carrying around that extra burden. So please ask for help. There's financial counseling available out there for free at our branches. We have extra resources that we'll talk about later that provides free financial counseling. And ask your family, ask your friend, ask your peers, see what they do, see what works for them, because I bet you they're probably having the same issues as well. So that's why I want to stress is always be one to ask for help. I've had to ask for help. I hate doing it, but I do it and I get the help and everything works out so much better in the end. So now we're going to talk about developing a budget. I'm going to switch to full. No, hold on. Sorry, technical difficulty. Wrong one. My mouse got too excited. Okay, so here we go. Developing your budget. There are 6 steps to developing your budget. The first step is you're going to list out all of your income sources. This could be your paychecks. It could be any gifts you received that month if you had a birthday or if during Christmas, holidays, things like that. If you have any crafts or hobbies, my husband is like one of the world's most giant nerds. Maybe not as nerdy as Kim, but really close. Wow. Pretty close. And he's a collector. And when I first met him, I was like, oh my God, who is this like 24-year-old child? That was a very long time ago. He still collects, not the way he used to. But now I love the fact that he's a collector and such a big nerd. Because when it is time to declutter our guest room where we keep all of our storage or our garage, he lists his collectibles on eBay, and boy, do they bring in some cash. So now I don't care that he collects because I know he's going to make money off of it, but that's usually a good source of income for him every month. So if you have hobbies, if you're a collector, things like that could be your sources of income. Once you have all your income listed, you're going to add it up. You're going to see how much you have to work with that month. And then you're going to go out, and this is the hard part, you're going to find all of your expenses. This is going to be your mortgage, your rent, all your utilities, your cell phone bill, your car payments, credit cards, insurance, gas, food, clothing, your extracurricular activities, daycare. Expenses can go on and on. Everybody's situation is different. So I put together over here for you kind of like a mock budget, kind of based on my personal life and the expenses that I incur every month. I feel they're pretty similar probably to everybody. So you may have more and you may have less. An example of maybe having more expenses is my medical comes straight out of my paycheck. So I don't even count that as a monthly expense because it just comes right out of my paycheck. But I know a lot of other people have to make that monthly payment in for their medical insurance. So that would be an additional expense for you that wouldn't be listed here. Once you find out all of your expenses and everything is listed, you're going to need to determine whether that expense is fixed or flexible. So your fixed expenses are your expenses that are going to be consistent every single month. They're not going to change. So that's your mortgage and your rent. A lot of your utilities wind up being fixed, and like your car payments, because those are really consistent throughout the time. You know they're always going to be there. Daycare is a fixed expense for me. And then you're going to see which ones are your flexible expenses. So those are the ones that are going to vary every month, and the ones that we might be able to change so we can have some more money in our budget, and we can look for ways to cut out of our budget. So those are your flexible expenses. Once you determine all your expenses, you're going to add it up, and then really quick, you're going to take your total income and you're going to subtract your total expenses, and you're going to see right away a clear picture of, am I spending too much money? Or, hey, I'm doing better than I thought. I have all this extra money. So then you can start kind of establishing those SMART goals. So that's our step 3. You want to have your goals. So we want to start our SMART goals. So SMART goals, we all hear them. We've heard them through school, we've heard them through college, and we hear them through our employers when we have our goals every year for work. So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And we like to say you want to set a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a long-term goal. You should have at least one of each, if not more. So a short-term goal would be anything that takes less than 1 year to achieve. So my short-term SMART goal is I'm going to pay off my Visa credit card in 6 months. So I know that it is very specific of what I'm going to do. It is measurable. I can measure it along the way by checking my balance and seeing that balance drop every time I make a payment. It is achievable. It is relevant to what I'm trying to do with my budget, and it has a time frame stamp to it of 6 months. Your medium-term goals are going to take between 1 year and 3 years to accomplish. So an example of this will be, I will save $2,500 in 2 years, and I'm going to take a vacation to Disney World. I'm also a Disney nerd, I should mention that. And your third one is a long-term goal, and that's going to take anything over 3 years to achieve. So over the next 5 years, I will save $10,000 so I can completely remodel my kitchen. Big dream of mine right now. So that's an example of a long-term goal. So you want to set those goals. So that way you have a picture, you know why you're budgeting, you know what you're trying to save for and what you're trying to accomplish, and you can see your progress along the way. And that makes budgeting a lot more fun. And once you hit those goals and you go to the store to make those purchases, it is like the best feeling in the world because you worked hard to save up all that money to make up that purchase, and you just have so much more respect for the purchase you made, and you're so excited, and you have a lot more respect for yourself, and your family's going to be high-fiving you because they're going to be so proud of you for saving up that money to hit that goal. And our lights just went out. It's okay. We're going to do an office here and jump up and down. Thanks, Dwight. So once we have our goals established, we have our income, we have our expenses, we kind of have a roadmap now. Now it's time to kind of start moving your money around. So on our example, you can see I have a savings category here. So in the chart, I always like to put your expenses. We have income, savings, and expenses. So we list everything down. In my next column, I have your budget amount. So that's what you think you're going to spend on it. That's what you're planning to spend on it. The next column is our actual amount. So that's what you actually spent on it. And then I have a difference. So you can see whether you're under budget or you're over budget. And you always want to include a little note section because if you're under budget, you can put a little note in there what happened so you can reflect back to see maybe if you need to make additional changes. So as we go through this, we have our savings set up, and it looks like on our income, we actually made a little bit more than we were expecting. So we have a little bit more money to play with, so that's great. So savings, we were able to save up a little bit more. In your savings, I have savings and retirement. You can set that up as a savings account. You set that as emergency, a vacation savings, retirement, however it works for you. If you're a member of Together Credit Union, you can have unlimited amount of savings account on your account, just so you know. So you can always go out there, open up additional savings accounts, rename them for what your goal is, and then you can track the progress that way. We also have, in our expenses, everything is listed out. I'm actually going to pull this up a little bit bigger so I can see my numbers a little better. So we have our mortgage and rent, and it looks like we paid exactly what we were supposed to. But let's go through our utilities. It cost us a little bit more for our utilities this month, so we were a little bit over budget. But you can see my notes is we had a leaking toilet, so my water bill was a little bit higher. So I called the city and said, hey, what is going on? My water bill is higher than normal. Something must be wrong. So they sent me this kit so I can test my toilet to see what was leaking. And sure enough, my guest room toilet had a small leak in there. It was silent, didn't know about it, and it caused my water bill to raise a little bit. So that's how I have it noted. So I know next month maybe I need to budget a little bit more, put something in like a home repair section for those. And then you can see on my car payment, it looks like I paid $50 less than I was expecting, so I probably over budgeted them, and then because other things happened, I wasn't able to pay as much on them. So same thing happened with student loans. But then our groceries. So we budget for the month of groceries, what we anticipate what we're gonna spend. And then we go grocery shopping, and then you're all set, and then all of a sudden your husband says, hey, I invited 5 people over for this dinner party. We're gonna do this and prepare. And this is true story, people. This happens to me all the time. Chris, if you're out there, love you, not picking on you on purpose. But he decides last minute we're gonna have this dinner party, so I have to rush out and go get extra groceries. Well, now my grocery budget is over because I had this dinner party, and it was a blast, and we had lots of fun, lots of laughs. But so now next month I'm gonna probably budget a little bit more in groceries so that doesn't happen again. So that's just kind of a quick run through on the budgets so you can see that. And which one, Kim? Okay, so we have a question saying, is this your real budget? Do you use a spreadsheet every month? My spreadsheet looks just a little bit different, but yes, this is almost essentially my real budget. I changed the numbers up slightly, but yeah, these are all my expenses I have every month. Okay, so Kim, my assistant Kim, just really wanted to know, is that my real budget? So yes, Kim, if you need help, come see me. I'm happy to set one up for you. Let's transition back here. Perfect. So that's just kind of a really quick run through. Again, we do this in a 2-hour thing and it's a lot more hands-on. So when we have this reschedule, I really hope to see you there so we can really work through your budget together. So we moved our money around. Now it's time to start tracking that progress. So every month you're going to track your progress. So that's why you want to see if there's a shortage or overage so you can make those adjustments. And that's step 6. After you track your progress, it's time to evaluate and adjust. And you need to do this every single month. We have to evaluate and we have to adjust because our income could always be different. My husband works 2 part-time jobs. His paychecks are very inconsistent, so I never know every month, every week we get paid. I don't know what his paycheck's going to be like, so we're always constantly having to adjust everything around. So this shows you budgets really aren't that scary. They're a lot of work to put together, but once you have it, they're really easy to keep up with, and you're going to start seeing differences in your finances. So now we're going to quickly talk about the 50-30-20 budgeting rule. This is a generalized rule setup that is out there. You need to do what works best for your financials and situations. Generally speaking, we tell people that 50% of their income should be focused on needs: housing, groceries, insurance, transportation, utilities, things like that. Those needs: food, clothing, shelter, those essentials to survive in life. 30% should go towards your wants. That is entertainment, shopping, travel, hobbies, dining out, if you have your gym membership, stuff like that. And then 20% should be focused on your savings. So that could be towards your debt repayment if you have student loans or credit card debt, your emergency funds to get established, retirement, vacation, stuff like that. So some of you might say, I'd rather do 30% savings and 20% wants. That's fantastic. So you do whatever works best for you. Change your percentages around how they work for you. Just make sure they add up to 100 at the end of the day. So now I want to take some time to talk about budgeting in these times of uncertainty. So last night, the Fresh Prince theme song kind of kept popping in my head because our lives have been flipped upside down, all of ours. We don't know what's going on. Everything keeps changing hour by hour. There's really no answers out there. A lot of us are practicing social distancing. I'm from the state of Illinois, so as of 5 p.m. tonight, I'm pretty much on lockdown. So it's a little stressful and overwhelming because we're trying to figure everything out. But what do you do with your budget? Because unfortunately, a lot of us, we've lost our jobs temporarily or we've been laid off. And with my mom, she works for a small business. And if they get shut down, she doesn't know she's going to have a job to go back to because it's probably going to close that small business. They're probably not going to be able to survive this. So those are really stressful times. And I keep telling her not to panic. She's fine. But we'll just kind of have to see how it goes and just adjust along the way. So when you're budgeting in times of uncertainty, it's important to go back and assess your budget. You need to figure out what your monthly income is going to be and see what you have to work with, because a lot of us are going to have smaller paychecks. Maybe we've had to apply for unemployment. Maybe we're getting assistance somewhere. We need to figure out the best we can of what our income is going to look like and then start working with that. Once you know your income, you need to start prioritizing those expenses. And we're going to put those into two categories: your essentials and your non-essentials. So your essentials are housing, food, utilities, medicine, and debt. So you need to focus on those needs. And hopefully we all have enough clothes at home that we don't really need to go clothes shopping right now. So we really want to focus on our housing and we want to focus on our food. Those are the two most important right now. And if you have any medicines that you need to pick up, prescriptions, and your utilities. Just remember with your utilities, contact your company, let them know what's going on. Ameren's already come out and said, and a lot of the water companies have come out and said that if you have late payments, they will be forgiven and they will not suspend any services at this time to help us all get through. And with your debt, pay what you can, but please contact your all your creditors and lenders. Let them know what's going on and what your situation is. A lot of people, like Together Credit Union, are offering emergency loans for up to $1,000 with deferred payments. We're offering skip-a-pays right now to help you out to make your budgets easier and so you guys can get by a little bit easier. So, but make sure you have to communicate what's going on, because if you don't, they don't know and they can't help you. So you're going to have to reach out for help. So then those are our essentials. And then our non-essential category, those are going to be your subscriptions, any kind of entertainment, dining out. Those are the things that you're going to look at. So you can determine now, how am I going to cut back on expenses? So what sacrifices are we able to make at this moment to free up some additional money for our budget? So do we need those Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus accounts? Yes, I do need Disney Plus. I have a 2-year-old and we've paid for the annual subscription. And that's the same for my Amazon. It's already paid for the year. But I can get rid of Hulu and I can get rid of Netflix and I can save $70 right there a month. I'm a nerd as well. Shouldn't just accuse my husband, but we own thousands of movies. So I really don't need the TV right now. I can just watch movies. So we could cut back on that to make some extra money. I found out yesterday my daycare is closing for a while, so there's $200 a week I'm now saving. So I can free up some money that way, and I'll be able to work from home because my boss is awesome, and she's going to let me work remotely for a while, so I don't have to pay for that additional child care. And my husband's company is now doing a child care like assistance program where you can get a little bit every week to help pay for childcare so they can go into their shifts. So what sacrifices can we make? Yes, it's hard to make it. We're so set in the way we live right now. It's just temporary. So we're going to try to see where we can free up that money. And then once we free up that money, we really need to prioritize our savings. We're going to deposit any extra additional money you may have into that emergency savings, whether it's $1, $5, $100. We want to put that aside for future use in case it gets even worse out there, which we really hope it doesn't, and you really need something to fall back on. So that additional $200 I'm saving a week for daycare will probably be put into my savings, because as I was preparing for this last night, I was also reworking my budget for the times of uncertainty to see where I could free up additional money and what I could do with it, any extra income we have, where I'm going to put it and what we're going to do so that we're ready to go and my family is taken care of during this time. So hopefully those tips help you. And there's so many great resources out there right now. So we're going to talk about a couple of resources, and then I'm going to focus on GreenPath for a minute. So resources and tools that are available to you to help you with your budgeting and just everyday financial education is your free annual credit report. Excuse me. If you don't know, you are entitled to get your credit report free every single year. Just once. You go to annualcreditreport.com. It is secured and it is owned by the government, so it is safe. And you can download your credit reports. A couple of years ago, they changed how they did it. You are no longer allowed to get, it will not show you your credit score. You have to purchase the reports in order to see your score. But don't worry about your score on this. Mainly, what we want you to look at is make sure all your identifying information is correct and see if you have any collections out there that you didn't know. Lots of people have medical collections that get added to their credit report that they didn't even know about. So see if you have any collections out there that you were unaware of. Also, you can check all your credit history. Make sure everything's accurate. Make sure that the accounts that are supposed to be closed are closed. Make sure you're making your payments on time, just to kind of get an idea, because maybe you have identity theft on there that you didn't even know about. So that's why I recommend pulling your credit once every year. And it'll help you kind of set up your expenses on your budget so you know all your creditors. And then Together Credit Union website, we have a helpful resources on the bottom of our home screen on our webpage. And on there, if you click helpful resources, it's going to take you to a screen and it's going to show you this. And there's money basics, retirement planning, the financial family planning. There are so many great modules based in here. If you click the money basics, it's actually going to take you to a budgeting module, and it is terrific. And they have budgeting worksheets in there to help you along your way. But anything you would ever want to know in the financial education realm is located on our website for helpful resources to kind of help you, give you that knowledge of maybe something you weren't so sure of. And the last thing I'm going to focus on is this Green Path Financial Wellness. So in 2018, at the end of 2018, we started this new partnership with Green Path Financial Wellness. Hi, Erica. I know you're out there. She's one of our reps from there, and she's fantastic. So Green Path has been wonderful. And I'm going to leave their contact information. If you want more information, it's greenpathref.com or 877-337-3399. They're based out of Michigan, but you can call in and you can get help with your finances on a lot of aspects. So one thing I want to really stress right now that they're great for is they offer budgeting and free counseling to help you with your budget. So during these times of uncertainty, give them a call. They're going to walk through, they're going to get your information, and they're going to walk through your budget with you, and they're going to give you some tips on maybe where you can save some money, or if you're on track, and just help you along your way. And they're going to be able to give you some of that free counseling that you might need during these times of uncertainty. In addition to that, they also do housing counseling. So if you're a first-time home buyer or thinking about selling or buying a house, great resources to check out here. They'll work with you and they'll help you understand what you can afford for mortgage payments and how that's going to affect your budget in the long run, so you're more prepared. They can do bankruptcy counseling. And also, if you just find yourself where you're just so buried in debt and you're having a hard time getting out, and you're have more debt than you do income, more expenses than you do income, sometimes they can recommend a debt management plan for you. And what they're going to do is they're going to contact your creditors. They're going to negotiate for you, get you a lower interest rate, maybe forgive some of the debt. And then they're going to take over all your bills and expenses for you and make sure everything gets paid. So now your credit score is going to start going up. It's going to take about 5 years. You're going to be completely out of debt within about 5 years. And along the way, you're going to have a lot of financial education tools that are going to help you keep you on that right path. So Green Path is a terrific company. We love working with them. And right now, I highly recommend. And even if you just want to go to their website and check it out, they have so many great resources, articles on there right now, and there's lots of webinar tools available for you to help you during this time. So here is my contact information. We're pretty much right on time, which is unusual for me. So, yay. Oh, we got a question. Let's hold up. Credit ranges from good to average for refinancing a home. When we do mortgages, we like to see your credit at a 680 or higher. So best you can do is just apply and work with one of our excellent mortgage loan officers, and they will guide you along the way. But usually when you apply, we're looking for 680 or higher on our mortgages. So thank you for that question. So my contact information, again, if you'd like a copy of the presentation, if you want those supporting docs, you can either comment or send us a message with your email address. You can always email me. Don't call me the next couple of weeks because I won't be in the office. I will be at home, but I definitely will respond to emails very quickly. And then our website, if you're just curious to learn more about our credit union, if you're not a member, we'd love to have you. $5 to open up an account. It's togethercu.org. And do we have any other questions coming in? All right, so thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us for our very first Facebook Live. I hope you found some of this information beneficial and you are ready to go out there and start working on your budget and that you are empowered. Oh, one more. With regards to checking your credit score, what do you think about the services such as Credit Karma? I use Credit Karma on my cell phone. I have the app. I like them. The credit scores aren't always 100% accurate, but they're usually in the ballpark, is what I've noticed. So I would recommend them. But just remember your scores might be slightly off, but it's a great way to check your accounts and see if you're paying on time and get those histories really quick. And they update every Thursday. So it is. I'm like a robot. I know everything. So, but again, thank you for joining us. Keep the questions coming. We'll hang around for a little bit to reply to them. And we hope to see you for our next Facebook Live. And I hope to see those that are in St. Louis area at the rescheduled dates. Oh, yeah. So, Kim, great point. I meant to say that. We love to hear from you guys. We want topic ideas. And what else would you like to see on Facebook Live? Send us a comment. Let us know. And we will do our best to work that out for you. So